Oh, Kissay! Oh, beautiful. Love a good dare. Welcome back to the LCO delivered by Menulog, where we love League of Legends. And look, we've got much more League of Legends on offer for everyone. Boys over here, of course, they've been killing it in the first 2 games. Welcome back.
Hi. Thank
you guys as well. You've been doing a very good job after, of course, Skimmy, you got over your technical difficulties. You got to remember to turn that microphone on.
See, this is the problem. I get too excited. So clearly I moved in the wrong direction far too many times, and I just broke the tech already. So that's why I have to stay at home.
Just too much energy. So much energy coming out of this one. Kitty, you've been relatively quiet, or at least still. Maybe we've got to get you doing some laps around the set.
I'm not in a dress, Mac. I cannot do laps.
Very true. Look, maybe one day we'll
get you
on the cardio.
I'll come in pants, yeah.
But for now, it's time to start talking about this matchup. It's time to start talking about Direwolf. So let's have a look at their lineup going into this game. It's an interesting one. Okay, we've got Siuman coming in back at mid, so that is one of the returning players. Zorenous, Bulldawg, they're here again. Poltron, his name, I've heard it before, but not in terms of a player, have I, Skimmy?
No, yes. Coach Poltron tag teamed along with Valexis last split. He said, you know what, I've had enough of trying to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to do it myself. So he's jumped into that starting position. We did see him have a bit of fun in games in splits gone by when he played the pocket Shaco.
Yeah.
Really tried to upset the balance of Pentanet. So it's going to be exciting to see how he fares. Quote unquote, making his proper debut. Siuman, he's back, right? He played in the OPL for Gravitas, was that proficient Zeds and really aggressive assassin play. He's back. He's now joined the roster of Direwolves, playing here today. And Danteh, getting a starting position, right? Had that one game on the Kaiser. Young gun, 17 years old. During his interview with Kitty, says, I've got to run away because I've got school in the morning.
Yeah.
7-1-4 on the Kaiser. Absolutely smurfing it, so I'm excited to see how he plays. Alongside Bulldawg, who, during the latter half of that split, got swapped out for Shinky. So a lot of players on the side of Direwolves, and certainly an exciting team to keep our eyes on.
Is that's an NZ bot lane, right? So
it is the Kiwi bot lane, so I'm already supporting them.
Beautiful. So look, that's Skimmy's favorite bot lane.
Yep.
He's going to be picking them to make the playoffs, maybe even take the split. And we're going to talk about Peace as well, who really may be one of these big contenders to take the split. Now look at that man in the ADC role. Oof. We got Violet coming back from overseas, Rust.
Yeah, Violet's back. He's back home, right? Back to his home, both region and team in Peace. So it is very exciting to see him back. And you would have to expect that when you put together this roster with the addition of Thien in 2022, this is a strict upgrade. Gunkrab also has been in EU West for a boot camp. So to see him returning, I believe it was Violet that actually wants him there as well. This is a very exciting prospect to look forward to. And you would expect that Violet will help mold Gunkrab into being an exceptional support player, because we know that Gunkrab is mechanically sound as a player, and has played support before, but I don't think he's ever committed full-time to the role.
Okay, so it's kind of like a test as to who's playing well, how this whole combination of players is going. Also, shout out to LeeSA's mullet. That was looking
beautiful.
real pretty with all this.
There it is. Production smurfing.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You love to see it. Now, Peace, are we expecting them to do well this split? Are we expecting them to take the whole thing, or are we sort of just waiting to see what Violet looks like today?
I mean, when he was here once upon a time, right, he was the star player. He was the one that was having these epic juke outs with Predator, showcasing, what does OS look like for these star AD carry players. So I'm really excited to see him come back home and say, look, I've returned. I'm here to, showcase that I am one of the best, if not the best. And him and Gunkrab have a proven track record, right? They played on Avant in 2020. They were subbing out as both AD carries, and sometimes Gunkrab would be like, I'll be support. Apii was like, sometimes I'll be support. So these are known quantities. So as far as like a player coming back, it literally is a homecoming for a lot of these.
Okay. Now, Kitty, I heard from a bird that you've got a friend on the line.
Yeah, so let me just beep, boop, beep. Hello? Is that Ultraviolet himself coming back from NA? Welcome back to OC, Violet, being one of the best ADCs that we've cultivated in OC so far. What are your thoughts on the ADC talent pool as we head into LCO Split 2?
I think it's pretty bad. I think the only good AD carry there was last split was Raze, and I think he kind of just shot on Puma in the finals, so I don't think any of the other AD talent is very good besides Raze, to be honest.
Okay, there's some big fighting words coming back from overseas. Looks like you've definitely got that US fighting spirit brought back with you. Now, you and Raze head-to-head then. Do you see yourself as better than him, or do you show him a lot of respect knowing what he has done in the past?
I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm better than him, but I'd say he's like the AD carry that for sure I respect the most in the league. I think he's the only AD carry that will prove a challenge to me. So I'd say, yeah, he's the AD carry I respect the most out of everyone in the league.
Okay.
And Violet, you've already achieved the dream of many by competing at Worlds 2021 with Peace. So what is going to be the next step for your competitive journey?
I mean, I think my goal right now is to just give it my all for Split 2 and be able to like bring this team to Worlds, because I think it's doable.
Okay, now, same question. I've been throwing it out to pretty much everyone we've had a chat to so far today. Who do you see as your biggest competition here? Do you not see PGG as competition? Is it only Chiefs from what you've already said?
I think PG is for sure. I think PG and Chiefs are the two teams will be the biggest competition. I think PG's like jungle mid is like pretty strong, but I think the rest of the players are pretty average. But Chiefs, I think, is like on paper the strongest roster overall. So.
Okay, well, best of luck in your game today against Direwolves. I guess we might chat to you afterwards if you get the W.
Thank you.
Man of few words sometimes, and big words coming back from overseas.
Very big words.
Yeah.
For what? It's like the on-paper favourites were Chiefs last split and they still lost. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
All I'm really hearing is on paper, Chiefs are still the favourites. It meant nothing in split 1, so I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, it's a good one to put out there. Something I'll put out there as well is the Dare fan vote. You guys got to get your Twitch points in. Channel points, Twitch points, whatever you want to call them. There should be a thing. Rusty, can you point to it in real time?
The Dare fan vote.
Do you know where the Dare fan vote is? No. Yep, Skimmy's on it.
That?
Yeah,
What?
up there.
That's the Dare fridge.
Yeah, well, that's the Dare fridge.
Literally the fan vote.
If you go
Oh, you mean in chat?
all the way in Twitch chat, which is technically above your head on your left. Yeah, right there. Beautiful. So press the button, vote for one of the two teams. It's Direwolves or Peace. There's no other options. Maybe if someone put an extra option, they're literally trolling you. So don't pick it or you'll lose all your Twitch points. Now, let's talk about our predictions, how we think this one's going to go. I feel like, as mentioned before, there's heavy favourites. We're all feeling like Peace is definitely taking home the bacon today, kid.
Look, I'm not biased or anything, but I think this is a Worlds winning roster with Violet coming back onto the team.
Oh,
You
a
say I'm not
world's
biased
winning.
every time, Kitty.
It just prefaces every single time you talk about Peace now. It's actually
you
crack
can't say
up.
it every time because it becomes biased by the third time in a row.
I'm going to keep saying it.
Well, we'll see, how it ages, how it goes. Skimmy, why have you gone with Peace? Is Direwolves' new lineup, the couple of new faces in there, you don't believe in them? Or do you just want to see what they're capable of?
I'm not sure how I really rate this different version of Direwolves just yet, because I feel like, losing the likes of Gudo, Kiyosei, and Frost, at least for today's game anyway, it feels like a big downgrade in principle. But those players that they have got instead definitely have a lot of potential, can certainly showcase their own personality in the Rift. I just think up against the caliber of opponent you're going into, we already know the likes of Thien, Apii, and the likes of their roster are just going to showcase just how insane they are. That if you give them too much respect, then Violet's going to say, I'm back, I'm angry because I didn't perform as well as I could have, say, in NA. So I want to showcase that I'm the best here.
Well, guess what? It is time for me to eat some 5 gum. So I'm going to grab this and, at the same time, Champ Select is actually ready. So, boys, you do your thing. Go.
Will you chew that gum and give us some ASMR in our ears as we give you, the viewers at home, some ASMR about talking through these beautiful champion picks. Peace on the left-hand side as we just ease our way into this one. They're going to start here with an Akali ban as well as a Lilia ban. What do you reckon about that?
I think my right ear's in danger from the sound of gum. But we'll get into this draft first and foremost. Yeah, the Lilia ban. I do think is a good addition to the ban list. I think we saw it in Game 1, not in Game 2 as it was picked. So still 100% pick ban so far is the Lilia. Senna going to be the same. Lulu wasn't touched in Game 2, but again is going to be back on the list again. And Akali is that fresh addition, I think it's fair to say, in the list of bans alongside that Zoe. So two very specific champions taken away, which just straight up leaves open the Gwen,
Yep.
leaves open the Gangplank, I think, as well, from the first two games compared to this draft. So there is going to be a lot of variance.
Certainly will be a lot of variance in this one here. We did see once upon a time it was Gwen in the jungle, but mainly played towards that top lane. We have seen many epic battles between the likes of Thien and Zorenous, where they've even played ranged matchups into one another, right? I remember that favorable one where it's the got up against the Vayne, where they're really looking to try and showcase just who was better when it came to looking to try and pop on off. Karma and Jhin locked in straight away, really. I mean, there's no way to really beat around the bush in that one. Really guaranteeing themselves a strong in China, much like we saw in the previous game.
I think there has been a surprising amount of Jhin. Like, I'm not saying that Jhin is by any means a bad pick, but it does feel like we've seen an exceptional priority placed towards Jhin as a champion so far. So, again, when we come to a new patch, you're not actually sure exactly what you're going to see. This could be a champion that we will see. Violet, if of anyone, would be very keen to lock this in.
Sure.
I think we do have to question now, first and foremost, what goes with this Kog Maw. Lulu gone, Karma taken away. Is it a Janna? Is it a Nami? Is it another enchanter that goes with it? The typical comp does have a shielding and or healing champion going bottom lane with that Kog Maw, but to be seen, especially with the new Kog Maw build being very tanky, right? The Titanic Hydra.
Yeah.
So perhaps it just goes well with anything.
It's a good question. Obviously, Renato's up in that mix as well if you want that sort of attack speed and move speed steroid, much like a Lulu. So certainly another valid consideration.
2 damage to do damage.
Absolutely, why not?
2 seconds.
But Wukong also, another one of those champions which was certainly in the consideration of being banned away. This time going to be let on through. We obviously saw that the massive changes to it allowed it to be played so much more at MSI with the dash now on your W for the clone. So it can be exciting to see how somebody as proficient as LeeSA looks to try and utilize that one, as the Dire also going to answer back here with a Kindred.
Yeah, so what you can say is that so far nothing actually kicks anyone or throws anyone, displaces them out of the Kindred ultimate, so the Lamb's Respite could actually be very good so far. You don't have a mid laner locked in, you don't have, I mean, it probably is a jungle Wukong locked in, you don't have a support perhaps locked in. So there is still a couple of champions that exist that could still facilitate that as a point to deal with a Kindred. Yet to be seen, however, it feels like Poltron, who we know as someone that has played in the LCO one time, played Shaco, won, and then left to be a coach, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, his second most played in solo queue was the Shaco, but his first of all is the Kindred, actually. 145 games on that one, so certainly feels to be a champion that he is very much at home with, so I'm excited to see how that one does look. I mean, you think about it in terms of where the Kindred has been played historically in the LCO. We've seen it once in the bot lane played by Pum. We've seen it top lane actually by Thien as well. So a champion that is, I suppose, synonymous with high elo OS ranked.
Yes,
always,
it is.
Always in the jungle.
For various reasons. It is definitely synonymous with the high ranks in League of Legends. Kindred going to be locked, and like you said, it's Poltron's most played. So there is a certain irony in a comfort pick for a coach who knows what meta is like, but can't exactly do that because of what he's comfortable playing, as he spends time adapting. And Gwen and Wukong actually as a duo is extremely oppressive. It's a mixed damage top jungle. It's just so dangerous, right? They have such good control if they're looking to engage at level 6 between the two of them. They lock you down, they chase you down forever. So there's a lot that you need to respect there. Assuming we have touted him as the assassin player. You called him the Zed player. He was. I think Lyssandra's maybe the one champion that wasn't really an assassin that he did pick up.
Yep.
He's going to ban that. That's going to be banned rather by Peace. So we find ourselves at this really weird situation where we start draft saying Gwen and Gangplank are up. Two extremely broken champions have been left up. It'd be crazy if they just both picked them in and we handshaked. Instead, Gangplank's just going to be banned in the 4-5 by Peace because they prioritized Kindred.
Yeah, they ban away Lysandra and say, well, now the Leblanc looks ever so appealing for the likes of Apii to lock that one in. And you think back to Split 1, how many devastating performances he had on that Leblanc, right? Really in your face, challenging you, roaming, really getting pretty much up in everybody's business and saying it's not going to be an easy time to try and play out this game. The Soraka is going to be locked on in, and a Teemo.
This team is just, they're absolute specimens, aren't they?
A Teemo is going to be locked in here. Now,
so it is a Teemo top. What I'm getting from this is that Zorenous has decided that top lane will be a 1v1 till the end of time.
Yeah.
He has just said that, fair enough, Gwen's pretty good. Shrooms don't work, by the way, on Gwen if she has W. She's just out of range of a mushroom. But junglers can't come and gank. We're going to isolate it. We're going to stop the Wukong from getting into the mix. There's a lot of damage over time from the Shrooms as well. If Wukong uses W, you will see him at all times. Even silhouette through the invisibility from the damage that he is constantly taking. Don't make me justify why a Teemo's in a comp, because it doesn't work. Their comp right now is an enchanter support, 280 carries, a mage in mid lane that usually needs damage from the rest of the team to operate at full strength. So that is one thing they've got going for them, and a Teemo.
Let's not forget, this is the man once upon a time when Janus Smite was a viable pick, played a top lane. He said, I can do that. He said, I can play Zeri top lane and make it look ever so good as well. He said, look, shout out to Biopanther, I'm going to play myself a bit of Urgot as well. And if that was enough, no, not 1, but 2 games on the vein. So Zorenous certainly is one of those individuals that likes to push the barrier of what can be done, and says, how do you like this? A Teemo to kickstart our brand new campaign here for Split 2 and keep, I suppose, an international audience thinking what really is going on down under.
I would say Zorenous has a notoriety for reinventing wheels that aren't broken, to find something new. And this is just another step on that journey. I look forward to his zillion top tomorrow if we're going to continue along this path. Gunkrab also got really forced down the enchanter list, right? 2 enchanters taken away from him. Lulu banned first 3. Karma picked away by Bulldawg. Goes towards the Soraka. So in reality, right, maybe isn't the exact champion they wanted. It is still going to be Kog Maw with a healing bully. I do think that Soraka, as far as laners are concerned, is quite a bully. Karma is probably the best in slot for being able to threaten, push, harass, right, throughout the laning phase.
Sure.
But Soraka's a fairly close, I would say top 3, maybe behind even the Lulu. So they've got very strong 2v2 bottom lane when it comes to all-in trading. Leblanc's going to be a big threat, right? It's the Ahri LeBlanc matchup. It's the MSI must ban or pick into each other matchup.
Yep.
So they should have at least seen sample size of this matchup being played. Kindred into Wukong, you would say in theory the Wukong just has in general a better time. But if you go all in, Kindred has got the Lamb's Respite. It's very hard to find a timing where you can stop that from going down. It's just a brief knock-up with your ultimate. And then I don't know what to say about top. It just is. It just is.
Yeah, it just exists. It does exist.
Isn't Gwen just good Teemo?
I would love to see the amount of shrooms that just get immuned at. And we can just kind of laugh and say, this is why Gwen was brought into the game.
And isn't Peace's comp just good Dial's comp? Like, when you really think about it, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. The S-tier variants.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And we're going to find out, really, does draft matter at all? The age-old question here in competitive League of Legends. Is it all about draft diff, or is it just a case of player diff? Game number 3, as Peace and Dials look to kickstart their campaign here in Split 2 and showcase what they can do for another bit of action here in OS. And much like action, we do have a lot of action when we talk to this particular man. He is a star that needs no introduction. It's Midlord. How are you, mate? How's the off-season been?
Hi. How are you?
I'm very well. How have you been?
Pretty well.
That's good to hear. That's really, really good to hear. Well, tell me, Midlord, because you've welcomed home Violet and you've now brought in Gunkrab that's obviously familiar with these players too. So what is it like to have Violet back?
Yeah, we are very excited to have Violet back. Like, he was a big part of our win in 2021, right? And we're definitely a key partner of this split.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I have to ask the question, and I mean, obviously the goal is to get to Worlds again, but do you see any other team really giving you a big challenge?
That's true, because we need time to make each other play comfortable.
It'll take time, and it certainly will take time. And I suppose a game like this is a great chance for you to have some fun with that, because I'll leave you with this closing question. What do we think of Teemo?
It's really funny, but we still need to take serious of that one.
I'll have to see. I'll have to see how Zorenous can pilot this one. Anyway, Midlord, best of luck as always, and I look forward to catching you up as the split goes on.
Thank you. Bye.
So, as we get into this one, a couple of points worth noting is that it is going to be the cleanse heal bot lane for Violet and Gunkrab. It is also going to be the boots 4-pot start. That is something that Jhin often does do, but Danteh is going to go for the Doran's Blade himself with the Karma. I think just to have a bit more pressure in lane. Though I think in reality a longsword 3-pots is pretty free to do when you've got a Karma and you have the push priority guaranteed. just a bit of extra AD from the longside. I think it's 2 extra AD. Might have been worthwhile, but nevertheless, it's pretty comfortable down in bottom lane. Other than that, I think we are seeing mostly standard across the board. Both mid laners are opted towards teleport, so no ignites, no cleanses. Just going to be playing much more for those good resets, and it goes to business as per usual, where Poltron's going to be full clearing from blue side upwards. Wukong does go for a bit more of a cheeky path, doesn't go for the full Krugs clear on red side, that makes sense. Is going to go towards blue buff, Scuttle Crab, and then maybe get active on the map.
It's going to be exciting to track not only LeeSA as to how we can look to try and find those early initiations to get the ball rolling, especially once the Cyclone is there at level 6, but also how Poltron can manage those marks, how many marks he can get. All importantly, you need to hit 4 ASAP, evolve that kit and become that ever-scaling threat, which should, in theory, be really, really strong on this new durability patch. As Apii is already going for a bit of an invade, looking to try and see where this crab would be. No jungler in the area, so LeeSA says, thank you very much, love your work. Easy smites. And claim that vision, as he can now do things like this. Jump across the wall.
Yeah, might actually go Tribush straight towards top lane. Love the Wukong changes. I'm sure LeeSA is happy with this one. Thien healthy enough to maybe look for some kind of play. Zorenous, you have to be aggressive to make these trades, and LeeSA's in. And he's out.
And he's out. He's seen the Bumblebee Teemo with the pink chrome and full.
Really
it's a little bit too cute. It might be a little bit too much of a demon skin, but ever the threat it will be. We're going to look to try and put our first foot forward here.
So Zorenous has the pink bee skin, doesn't he, right?
Yep.
So does Violet. The same pink chroma on the bee more.
I'm collecting these triangles together. It's all making sense.
That is maybe the best skin in League of Legends. I just want to... I really actually believe that.
The
I think
Kog Maw one?
Yeah, the pink chroma on that Kog Maw skin is adorable.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Look at little ears.
I've got the default one of this one, and I definitely do feel like it's a 20%
So
DPS
good.
boost. I feel stronger. Oh, good charm here, actually, all the way on towards Apii, but Siuman has certainly felt the wrath of that trade. Really going against him as the potions definitely are getting ticked either way. Gunkrab looking to try and clear out some vision because he wants to allow LeeSA into this lane. They're really buying time. There's a lot of patience and perseverance to make this one take place. Poltron is going to go for a reset. Here's the star call goes out, a little bit of regen. LeeSA rocks up. And it's not really to be a gank, but much more a push to clear this wave.
This is 2 waves now that LeeSA has actually just contributed to trying to get them to reset. Bulldawg straight up with Danteh is just going to take majority of LeeSA's health off, and he is the one person that has already reset. So, Zorenous is just oh my god, okay.
So Tim is the greatest character in the game, and
oh no,
he's hit us with the thumbs up because that's the first blood.
No, but look at this wave as well. Not only does Zorenous get the first blood, Thien with no teleport is down 11 CS plus as this wave builds. It's going to crash, and he's not going to collect all of it. That is devastating for Thien. He has truly just been Teemo'd. Oh, you hate to see it.
You really
Unless you're the Teemo. There is one person on planet Earth and that one Teemo fan that loves to see it.
Well, let's run this one back and see how it all went down.
Because there's no reason for Thien to fight here, right? Looking at this wave, it has to be for the cannon. He must see that 1 melee minion being a pest and just all in wants the cannon. And why is he staying to trade?
Being blinded already. 63 gold. How do you like that?
I've been ignite.
I've been ignited. Now I'm blinded.
Zorenous also held his blind for a lot of time there. So he didn't like instinctively just press Q to run away. He wanted the trade. So that was well played by Zorenous, but he did genuinely just have ignite diff by the health at the end.
Really did draw him in, that's for sure. And that commit definitely does mean that Direwolves get their first blood, and feeling ever so good about this pocket pick in the top lane. 1k lead, nice and early for them. LeeSA is going to pop his head into that bot lane once again off the back of another reset. Thien, there's a trap.
No.
Oh no, he's been popped. And then Poltron rocks up and says,
no.
thank you very much. That's a double kill. You've lost the wave. You've now lost yourself a second time in this lane, and I mean, there's ego, but then there's a bit of a disrespect where you're like, I'm losing to a Teemo in a pro game.
It's Teemo's world, we're just living in it. Yeah, look, at a certain point, you just don't really get permission to lane, right? If a Teemo's ahead, it genuinely is unplayable sometimes to go into that. Gwen does have that pocket of immunity that you can place, but the way the waves have been building and crashing in top lane, like on a more micro sense, have been large. They've been big waves building, big waves crashing. And so constantly when you feel like you have the minion advantage, you want to try and push that into crash it as soon as possible. But that is the point where Thien dies. So Zorenous, depending on how he wanted to play that one, could have even maybe forced a freeze. But I think he would prioritize the clear and reset himself. And as you can tell, has completed boots and some seriously expensive pocket change there as well. Very happy.
Certainly will be very happy. Poltron's back on his way. 2 marks already acquired. And certainly sitting quite pretty in this one because not only is he up a lead, as we've already talked about, the top lane as well for Zorenous. Top half of the map is looking very nice so far here for the Direwolves.
Yeah, one thing about Kindred as well, it's why she's so good in solo queue is because of the marks, right? Kindred players in competitive still have to play for lanes, for teams, for conditions that don't always exist in solo queue. You might have to hold that.
Here we go. Tether goes off, and out comes the W afterwards from Danteh. No real follow-up damage onto Gunkrab, however, but he's down to 50%, both in health and in mana. As long as he can continue to hit that Star Caller, then he'll be just A-okay.
No, you hit the Qs, you're perfectly fine in every Soraka lane. 2 ranged champions does make that a little bit harder. LeeSA, however, also coming down here. Gunkrab nicely hitting 2 of them in a row will put himself back up to a very good amount of health.
3rd time's the charm. Oh, just going to be spotted there by the Scries. I think
yeah.
he would have ideally loved to try and engage when that ward went down, but opted against for it.
They're becoming predictable here, though, Skimmy. That's one thing to point out. One major difference between the last split and this one is the support champions that everybody is playing has completely changed from Leona Nautilus only in matchups to right now it's a Soraka versus a Karma, so it is a completely different landscape. They're just sweeping lane bushes anytime LeeSA is there. Feels like that's a bit of a tell, and Bulldawg just sweeps his way forwards, knows he has a ward in the bush, so he's safe to move up. Sees him and runs away. Very simple.
Certainly is as easy as that. As Poltron going to utilize the fact that you've just gone for Dragon. So I'm just going to do a bit of counter jungling. Steal away your blue buff, deny that away from Apii. Make Siuman's life just a little bit easier. Oh, that charm was close. Instant distort away though.
I think he's been very unlucky here though as well. Poltron invades the top side of the map, but his mark is at Raptors.
Yeah.
So the one camp that he's not going to be able to get access to is his mark that he needed. That was my main point that I was going to say here as well. Actually, in solo queue, because the game is much more volatile, there's less communication, there's less focus around objectives. You can steal away jungle camps. You can manipulate where your marks will spawn.
Sure.
Right? You can actually ensure that you'll have a lot of those stacks where Kindred in competitive, not always going to be seen as a high stack early game champion. And those stacks are really valuable. Extra range in the first place. We've built a wall. There'll be no Wukongs coming in here.
Thien, oh, so close. But the honey trap has been found.
I just don't like Teemo.
No.
I just don't like Teemo.
Got enough trauma from when I versed them in ARAMs. Charm goes out. As once again, these 2 mid laners do battle again. Charm for a tether. Both down to 50%, and that's all it shall be. As Bulldawg is here to try and back up his mid laner and see what Poltron is up to, which is ultimately clearing out the bottom half of his jungle now and looking to continue to be ahead by a sizable margin.
Yeah, without a doubt. As far as jungle of this game are concerned, LeeSA has spent more time ensuring waves get cleared and laners get to reset than he has doing anything else, and that buys so much time for Poltron. As LeeSA is always the first to show himself on the map, Poltron's been able to make pretty basic map trades accordingly. Has been taking a lot of enemy jungle camps away and is pretty just consistently farming in his own. Level 6 very easily picked up, but no action even to be seen at the level 6 breakpoint. If it's not top lane, nothing's really happened. I think now's a good time to actually try and highlight the gold, because while it's 2,000 in advantage for Direwolves, makes you wonder where that is, if not top lane.
Certainly a lot of it would have to be in that top lane. It may now be shared between top and jungle as Poltron's going to drop the very first Herald of the game. 2 plates would be ideal and easy as the Spirit Rush is forced on out. Siuman going to go back in for seconds, however. LeeSA drop down low as well. We're putting up a best effort to try and defend this one and buy more time for the Direwolves play top side to work out.
So here's my question. What does breaking the top turret for Teemo do? What does Teemo now provide to the map? Now that his turret's been broken. Because I look forward to seeing it. Might change my mind on the champion. But yeah, roaming Teemo, you know what that really means? It means that if Drake's up in 2 minutes, the roaming Teemo flips the map and just sits there and places shrooms for the objective.
Well, I'm just thinking, if we have an ocean map like we saw last game, right, where the likes of Liv was just postured in that brush just into the entrance of that dragon pit, he just sat there and Viz and says, all right, Violet, find your moment, and bam, you're blinded. And now I've just found infinite value. I've done my job.
Yeah, that certainly is possible. Not realistic to expect that a Teemo and a Kog Maw would be face-to-face at any time for a clutch teamfight moment. But yeah, Teemo blinding someone can absolutely be clutch, especially the Gwen, right? Very auto-attack based champion. If it hits a Kog Maw mid-team fight, if it hits him with lethal tempo or W1, that's valuable seconds for sure. That's just tooth done. He actually is just the strongest person on the map right now. I would not be mad to see a Teemo group, but a Teemo grouping is just unheard of.
For very different reasons to like a Fiora, where you don't want them to group. I'll tell you that much.
Why are the reasons different? I don't want either of them in my game, but if they are there, I don't want to see either of them.
Well, Poltron's completed that Kraken Slayer as well. And LeeSA slightly lagging behind, but he's going to be keeping pace as best as he can. Completes his first mythic item as well. As we are now acquiring as many item spikes and buff spikes, with that blue buff being picked up, with 30 seconds to go until that second dragon of the game.
Botlane just permanently fighting, nothing really coming from it. It seems like priority to be forced here by Direwolves is the one victory. Poltron actually going to have his first attempt at perhaps walking in through lane. That ward not going to be spotted yet, or at all, in fact, by both the control ward and the sweeper. So there's a really nice ward placed by Peace.
Certainly is. They know exactly where he is. Pings went out on the minimap. Man in the Sky's Bloom from Poltron are revealed just where LeeSA's hanging out in the bottom half of this Riverside, looking to try and make his play towards the second Drake of the game. Zorenous has gone for that roam and rocks up nice and early and says, this is the power of a Nash's Tooth. And down go those traps. Onto this dragon we go. Gunkrab across the wall, separated from the rest of his team with Violet. The dragon's already gone. But do they look to try and go for the fight afterwards? There's a big silence, but there's no stun to ensure the route. And back to lanes we go.
Yeah, no Nautilus hook to throw. I am going to continue to contrast the difference between patches, between metas, because it's obviously significant in these situations where everyone's grouping.
Hang on a minute though. Yeah, Cyclone goes out, but that small little break between charges does allow the Spirit Rush to disengage away.
That charm was so close to connecting, and if it was an Everfrost from Ahri as well, there was a chance they'd be able to make the pick, but it is the Luden's build.
Yep.
I do question the choice of the Ludens. You've got so much AP on your team already, but nevertheless, Gwen's ignited.
He's running him down. He's forced out Ghost from Thien. He's really not had a good time in this game.
Ghost and ult.
Down to bottom we go though.
Caught.
Bulldawg looking for the empowered Tevon towards Gunkrab and saying, well, Danteh, pick this one up, and he certainly will. Full shot, bang and boom.
Well, Direwolves starting to look like a threat in this game. Skimmy is up to 4,000 gold. They have got advantages bot lane. They're going to threaten the turret here as well. Poltron has been controlling the jungle. Has got himself a sizable advantage. Has taken the Herald. Violet
in a 1v2. Going to get rooted and says, I will just stand and deliver. Unleash the turret mode.
And I should say their advantage wasn't on Violet. It was in the bottom lane as a whole. Gale forced to be purchased by Danteh on death means he probably did overstay just a little bit there. Very confident stuff from Violet. You like to see it. That is the AD carry that won 2021 LCO. Back in action and looking as confident as ever. With a good skin.
With a good skin. We have to add that part.
It was a very good skin.
Look good, feel good, welcome home.
He's got his hair did.
That's true. He's rocking a new hairdo as we turn around and look and see 2021 was a different Violet, but ultimately it's the same outplay, isn't it? It really is a case of I'm going to showcase that I'm not afraid of a 2v1 situation, and we are not going to allow this game to get out of control that easily, even if this Teemo is causing a lot of havoc on the flip side of the map.
Thien is a Titan as well. He should be able to persevere through this and still play his best version of League of Legends, even if he is down. He is certainly not a player that goes out. Mid lane going to hit those item spikes as well from Apii. So Peace across the board are starting to really find their way. They have got to their mythics. We do highlight the gold difference, but again, a lot of it isn't actively participating. A lot of it is sitting in a side lane pressuring turrets, which is still valuable for Direwolves, but it is not a group situation as Apii.
Here we go, looking for Apii. He's forced to burn the Distort and the Flash as well. I'm not going to be too happy about that one as he looks to try and hold this bot wave.
Blue team's turret has been
Herald to crush as well, Skimmy. So there's a chance. Peace showing LeeSA top lane right now to try and trade. That you just summon the Herald on the Teemo lane. You get 2 turrets for the price of 1.
It's a really good looking trade right now. Poltron's already got the 4 stacks, so his entire kit has been evolved the first time in this one. Out goes the Wish, global heal, cut those grievous wounds at the same time as well.
LeeSA's 1 hit.
In every single lane,
Direwolves are really doing this.
Direwolves have been aggressive. They aren't backing down from top to bot. The squeeze is on.
Yeah, this is an exceptional amount of pressure. Very delayed by Poltron, really waiting for the next wave to try and make this play. If it were possible, Violet is going to try and push them back, of course, but Direwolves, it's a good look.
Oh no, that silence is huge, but enough to try and deter the flank from the other angle. Where could he go? He'd already burnt Flash. He'd already used his heal. And they're going to be the only member falling on down on this one, but that's what Direwolves are hunting for. They wanted a turret, and that's what they'll get.
I mean, to be completely honest, it feels like this has been rehearsed as a strategy from Direwolves from practice leading up to this, right? Perhaps they did have, like, unironically an answer to Gwen, at least in the 1v1. Maybe it even hasn't gone this well. This is better than expectations, but either way, it's going well. The Kindred seems comfortable for the team, right? The map play overall seems comfortable from Direwolves. Siuman should be an Ahri player. That feels very natural for him. It's hard to fault what they've done so far. It feels like Peace are the ones who haven't really made a play of proactivity if LeeSA's not involved. Haven't seen Apii get really active at all. There's been no chains to lead up to a Wukong going in. It's been just the Wukong going.
Yeah.
You just need to see more from them, I think, across the board besides LeeSA, who's just trying to keep a sinking ship together. He's got a very small bucket.
Certainly does want that bucket to be a bit bigger because they need to pour themselves out 6,000 gold at this stage of the game. But those bounties could prove to be huge as they will find their very first turret of the game, in part thanks to Thien pushing topside. Might have a little bit of a better time up against this Ahri as well, as Poltron's going to secure the second dragon in their favor, playing for an Hex Tech Soul, bear in mind, so a little bit of extra attack speed, and that all-annoying Chain Lightning slow as well. Pretty good for their composition if you think about it, the amount of rundown potential that they have.
Without a doubt, it does have some value there. In saying that, you know, as of this moment, I do think a Drake trade for an outer turret is really worth it for Peace because it has got the bounty gold on top of it. As well as the Drake being the second of the game, not having as much meaning for Direwolves as a win condition, right? The game continues to keep the pace being fairly slow. So I think that was one trade that Peace would be pretty content with. Direwolves now starting to be a little bit more active around the map themselves as well. Those Hex Gates are so valuable. If you saw during MSI, but their use was just prolific in the RNG T1 series. They were just going everywhere at all times. It really does change up, right? Like going for the Drake, going for the Baron when someone's in base, it speeds up their time to close the gap to get to the pit by a few seconds. And that's really meaningful when you're trying to calculate, can I do this in time?
Absolutely. Especially when you have no vision and you're going to try and retake or at least put up a claim to steal away that objective. If you're doing it without Fog of War, then you really are having to reevaluate your calculations. He's really putting a lot of emphasis in these side lanes now where they can look to try and take those 1v1s and claim as many of these bounties as possible to try and shorten that gap.
Surprise.
And he drops into a lane and instantly realizes one shroom and a blind. Half of my health is gone.
Yeah, Riftmaker Nash's Tooth. There's an incredible amount of damage over time that comes out from Zorenous now through auto attacks, not just through mushrooms connecting. It isn't going to be like a Leandri's Teemo build, which is about being extremely annoying with mushrooms that connect.
Yep.
He wants to still be relevant as a champion. Which is nice. He's also playing on the side of the map where the rest of his team is. Siuman is the teleporting member of Direwolves, and what we have seen so far is that Thien's pretty comfortable in that 1v1. But it's Apii that's going to be responding to it, because I don't think Apii wants even a piece of Zorenous on Teemo in a 1v1. I think he wants to even be remotely close to that. But the mismatch just kind of continues as far as lane assignments go.
Team could be in trouble here. Gunkrab is trying to put a bit of protection towards him, as well as LeeSA. Out goes the invulnerability stasis effect. as it expires, but in goes down Leblanc's Spike to say that we're all going to be invulnerable for just a hot minute. Who's going to die first? Is it Thien or is it Poltron? Well, ultimately, Poltron runs away, waiting for that one more dash reset, but I won't find it. That's a great charm by Siuman to ensure that LeeSA will fall on down to the trading up positively 2 for 1. And Danteh just in the back end, just firing away shots from afar, picking up assists.
A positive trade for Direwolves. No jungler means no smite, which does generally mean no Baron to be seen. Bulldawg in trouble.
Yeah, Apii's in trouble. The battle of the tethers, and ultimately Apii's is just a fraction stronger, and that makes what could have been a devastating trade into a far better one for Peace.
Yeah, one of those tethers does have items backing it up for its damage output. Danteh also on the other side of the map right now, farming the enemy Raptors on vision. So a decent opportunity there presented by Direwolves for Peace. Apii is not going to hesitate to find that one. We'll see this trade once again because, you know, the big thing for me is when you see perhaps a player, I think he was an OCS player turned coach turned player. You had a question how are the coach hands from Poltron? Seems very solid. Does a lot of nice dodging here. That little stutter step gets out of the true damage from Thien. Places the ult at the correct time and kites really nicely. So full credit to Poltron in his debut game officially as a pro player here in the LCO. Has still got the hands to play. The rest of the team obviously able to rally around him and get the job done. They are very strong right now, and Teemo was involved in that play.
Really targeting Thien, aren't they? From top to bot, they go and say, you respawn, but you're going to go down again. And they just walk inside that octagon and say, well, you're not immune here. Another charm, another kill.
And do Peace even have a chance to consider the Baron, right? The Kog Maw does insane amounts of damage, yes, is building towards what we have to assume is the Titanic Hydra.
Sure.
If ever there was going to be a win condition for this team, it is a Kog Maw Pentarangle. You've got good setup from LeeSA. You've got good damage from Thien and Apii, who are very hard to take down, and then you've just got an absolute monolith just standing there in front doing damage, which would be Violet. But at the end of the day, Direwolves are just ripping them apart piece by piece. And just making life impossible, not just for Thien, but for the whole map whenever Tien's dead.
Yeah, just basically saying it's a 5v4. You just cannot answer back. They've just found 2 turrets as a result of that one. They've broken the base bot side, exposing an inhibitor as well. It becomes ever so dangerous for Peace to even look to try and leave that base now, and especially with the Baron taunting them. They're going to try and plant as much vision as they can towards that one, but Direwolves right on time, straight to this dragon, put it on cooldown. And now you got 5 minutes for that soul.
That's it, 5 minutes on the clock until Peace have no choice but to act. You don't want to give that soul over. I think there's no way you actually want to give that one away. Peace now going to try and use the opportunity where the predictability of Direwolves is that they'll go to the Drake to try and get some deeper vision down. One of the first times this whole game that you'll see a ward placed a little bit deeper, but immediately going to be thwarted by a bunch of mushrooms thrown at their faces to staunch them away. Zorenous will puff his tiny chest up and they will run screaming.
We're not using oracles to clear out vision wards anymore.
No, it's got to be for shrooms, yeah.
Absolutely.
It is one of those things that, like, in its own weird way, it changes how you play. Bulldawg going to survive. In a similar way, it's almost like when you're playing against Evelyn, you have to change where your wards go.
Yep.
With this, you have to change how you sweep, because you need to sweep to objectives, not just at objectives, to make sure there's no mushrooms on the way, because if you hit one, you just lose before you get there.
Yep.
Makes it very difficult, means control wards are much more valuable to be placed around, you know, neutral areas like the river. Keep tabs on where the Teemo is at all times, if possible, to see where he's been placing those shrooms.
Titanic complete. And Violet really is an absolute AoE menace at this point, right? He's been farming up a storm, been keeping quiet, claiming as many of these waves as he can. Much like you said, really saying, if our avenue back into this game is a pentakill angle, then certainly it's a case of we know where they're going to be grouped up in 3 minutes time, if not that, the Baron. If we've got the vision, if we've got the control to make sure there's no shrooms in the area, I'm just setting up shop and we are winning.
There's one thing I'm uncertain on in this game, Skimmy, and that is, can you cleanse the blind? On a QSS one, I cannot remember off the top of my head if it cleanse does. But if that is the case, then you still have an option for Violet to be able to just stand in front and center, right? And just because you will win any 1v1 even now.
Leading off the minions, just that splashback, deterring Direwolves from stepping up to this wave too much. Let's see Apii put a bit of good work on the flank, looking to try and take out the Ahri as well.
So as a macro thing here for Direwolves, as like a team strategy, you probably do want the Teemo to just stay bottom. I don't think, and this is just my take on this, I don't think you want to bring Zorenous to the Baron for no reason. And the reason that I think that is important is because you are playing for Drake as a win condition. So you are probably just want to spend the next 2 minutes, instead of clearing top where perhaps he's gone now, just setting up shrooms and clearing bottom. What's your safe space at the moment? Baron's here in the objective, so Peace have to put more attention on that side of the map.
Sure.
And I think you can afford to just clear calmly, patiently. Peace have to come to you in a couple of minutes and have an actual minefield set up in that time. But nevertheless, it is going to be the opposite of that. So the non-teleporting member of Direwolves is going to go top side, which means Peace get an opportunity, a bit of respite to walk in here. They're even threatening perhaps an engage.
Wherever he does set up, he'll certainly have a lot of pressure put on that part of the map as a result of it. As you saw, yeah, absolutely. He's going to take their chances and say push through mid, claim another bounty in the bot lane thanks to Thien. And we did get a chance to check in with Poltron as well. He's got 7 stacks now. That second break point for the evolution of those abilities and the extra attack range to make that Kindred an absolute menace.
Direwolves feels like they don't care about the Drake. So the way I'm reading the map right now is their priority is still Baron even when the next Drake spawns. I think you just want to say, if you go for Drake, you want to deny us the soul, we get a free Baron. That is basically what the body language of this game is reading right now. Peace are the ones that have to make a pretty tough decision, I think it is fair to say. They don't have much time left to make that decision, as the clock is running out.
Really is. And that gold has faltered at times, got closer. 4.5k is, I think, as close as Peace got to try and bring it back in their favor. It's back to 6,000 for Direwolves, so certainly in a comfortable position to try and really hit them with those item advantages.
I think in this next fight, Gunkrab might be the most important person because he is the heals for Violet. Violet has no lifesteal in his build. Have to keep that in mind. So while he's a bit of a bruiser, does have a lot of damage, and he wants to stand and deliver, he has no lifesteal to sustain himself from any kind of poke. It is all about Gunkrab keeping him alive.
Here he goes, gets rooted for 1 second, has to be backed up. Apii goes in, provides a limited protection by being aggressive himself. Out go the shots from that curtain call, and he'll have to try and take a turn at really copping that one. Hellfires are low, Violet goes in. Oh, that's a beautiful sidestep on the charm. Siuman's in trouble, he's gone. He's going to die after this one. He's going to get rooted and silenced and shut down. That's 2 kills from the mid and jungle of Peace, and they have found their avenue to attack. They want to try and find more, but Direwolves are just running away as fast as they can. A double flash. Otherwise, that tether was enough to try and take out this Teemo.
And now you enter the dungeon of the Teemo. Sweeper is going to be there. Straight into a shroom, though.
Into the shroom.
Bulldawg.
Oh, Bulldawg's being caught. He can't hit those Hex Gates. And he will protect his star top laner, but pay the price himself.
And now it looks like they are going to go straight towards the Baron here. Violet does so much damage to this. Teleport's going to come through. Feels like Direwolves were at the finish line. It feels like they were so close, and then they've just tripped over at the last minute. Peace just going to come sprinting through, win a team fight, grab a Baron. Any kind of 6,000 gold leads now brought down to 3. It dissipates almost entirely with the upside of what this Baron can provide. We'll see this again. Violet just sees an opportunity to press W to walk forwards and to auto attack, and puts down a lot of damage. And at this point, the play is kind of simmering. Gunkrab is low because he cops 2 of these ults. LeeSA should be tanking those. And Siuman just sees blood. He just sees it.
Fair credit to him, though.
But the cleanse is there from Violet, so I don't want to give him more credit that he deserves. There's no point in going for that play because he's going to cleanse your charm and you're still going to die. That's just not the way you want to play this out. You should be forcing them between the objective and the fight. Siuman forces the fight instead. Just impatient.
Cleanse wasn't even used as well.
No.
Miguel's blessing is there, so I mean, you're just really sitting pretty. And at this stage, now we're starting to see that tank Kog Maw truly come online. One would have thought maybe it's a wit's end. No, it's a force of nature. A lot more mitigation, a lot more movement speed as well. And really reduces the exact top half of Direwolves' composition. Oh, look at this flank from LeeSA. That's a 3-man Cyclone straight away. Will R2 come across? As they have to walk out the lands with Spider. Look at them go! It's a double kill. It's a late game Kog Maw. Put your faith in the king, and Violet is back.
Yeah, huge engage from LeeSA. Very nice team fight from Peace. With Baron in hand, they're going to threaten towards the end here, I feel like, with no hesitation. Teemo has to base, but they only have cannons, so this will take some time. You want to bounce the shrooms in if you're Teemo, I think.
They are going to try that one. Apii has the Unleashed teleport, so we can go back to base. He can come back in again. There it is. That one cannon buying time with those invulnerability clips. Siuman going to do whatever he can, but he's run out of charms. He's run out of cooldowns and just going to get absolutely smashed in his fountain. Yeah, it is. It is game over. It is an ace. And it is Peace with their first win to kickstart Split 2.
I'm not going to say it was a clean win from Peace. I'm not going to say it was an easy win from Peace either. But they do kick off their LCO Split 2 campaign with the dub on the back of a pretty big performance from the Kog Maw. Just calm farming, just trying to get those items up. And it really was just one mistake from Direwolves and the game just completely over.
It was, and that now means that Peace have 5 wins on the bounce up against the Direwolves. The last time that Direwolves have actually beaten them was way back in July last year. Would have been a huge upset if they could have got that one, especially with the composition they built to say that Teemo's here. We've crushed you from start to finish, but that one little blip, and it's all been undone there, Mac.
It certainly has, and what a game. We were sitting in the green room watching that one thinking, oh my god, Direwolves, they are doing it.
The Teemo pick, oh my lord.
Teemo pick as well, the first blood, and then just Thien was tilted in the player camp. He was just perma-tilted, couldn't do a thing. That was, it looked like, Kitty said it might have been a win condition. Just tilt Thien and you might win the game. And it was working. It was working until they made one misplay. And that's all it took. And then Peace just ran away with the horses.
I mean, to be fair, Kog Maw did have his 3-item spike at that point where it was really hard to win teamfights for Dial. So if we were to look back and Dials tried to force a play before Kog Maw became Thanos and became invincible with his items, maybe it would have been a Dials win.
It certainly could have been. Now, Skimmy, tell me, what were you thinking when you saw Poltron absolutely tearing it up in the jungle? Were you expecting him to have that good of a performance?
I mean, when I saw what his solo queue stats were looking like, I was thinking if you're looking to try and draft some form of comfort, this would be it. And he certainly looked comfortable up against one of the best in LeeSA, right? But just frustration, I think, for Direwolves as a whole, even just this year. I mean, how many times did we see them in Split 1 challenge some of the best and just falter at the final hurdle? How many times in those last 5 minutes? One play and it's all undone. So I think we've always classified, at least for 2022, as Direwolves being the possible team, right? The team that has always been in 5th. We always feel like they are a surefire thing to get there, but can they ever beat the big top 4? When they've come close multiple times, but in this case, a little bit of calm, cool hands from Peace, and they're able to take the dub.
Okay, now, Jhin, talk to me about this pick, Rusty. He existed. He did his job early game. Yeah. But both times we've seen Jhin picks now, it has not been successful. And it kind of feels like maybe there was a better option. What do you thought about that? What do you think about that?
I mean, oftentimes Jin's just picked more as like a diffusal champion, right? He's super long range, so he's almost unkillable at all times. Yep. So you tend to pick that when your support's going to be playing for perhaps the rest of the composition, or you just want a really safe laning phase that's reliable. But it is one of those things that just, it does make me wonder when you've already got a Karma locked in, what does Karma Jhin provide when you could perhaps even, I'm going to throw a champion out there, it's just lives rent-free in my head for no reason, is Sivir.
Yeah.
Karma Sivir is like a more oppressive version in my mind.
Okay.
And I think is nice because the Sivir ultimate with the Karma shield is kind of like an engage with how much movement speed you get. But the Jhin ultimate does a similar thing, right? So like, I get it. I get that Jhin exists. I expect to see more Jhin. I do think there are worlds where perhaps you could explore other ADs.
Okay, well, maybe they can do some more exploration throughout the split. However, that was a stellar start. I feel like, you know, coming into this, we were talking about how it was Peace's game to lose, how they were looking like one of the top contenders with Violet coming back. And that almost went south. That almost went sour real quick. I'm sitting there going, ooh, we spun the wrong narrative. But it looks like we didn't. Look, Peace saved us there. We didn't have to worry too much about that one. Now, a few things to have a quick chat about, but we're going to put that to the side because we have an interview, Kitty.
It is with LeeSA for tonight's interview. And LeeSA, were you just as shocked as us when you saw the team locked in for Dials?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that game, we kind of got like fucked early game by the Teemo.
Everyone's on
not even early. Yeah, not even early game. We just the whole game. We were like getting played around the Teemo.
Beautiful. Now, speaking of beautiful, I'm thoroughly enjoying your haircut. Is it like a lucky mullet, or are you just sort of rolling with it? What's going on? Show me what product do you use?
No. I'm just like during the lockdown. So like what I'm trying to do, I just want to get a new haircut, new hairstyle. But I've kept this hair like for more than half a year. So I just decided not to like do anything with it. I'm just gonna keep it.
And is that the secret to being like a goat on Wukong?
You can say that to that. I mean, it does relate with Wukong.
Well,
Like
speaking
the
about
hairy Wukong. Yeah.
well, I guess Wukong is hairy, and
He is.
well, speaking about the game, why do you think the game went into such a hard state where you guys were 3 dragons down?
You know, like the game, we couldn't have done nothing because like I'm Wukong. I'm the only engaged from our team, and it's hard to engage like 5-rank champs. Also they have like Kindred, just hard to team fight. But like suddenly, at the Dragon Soul fight, they just made a little mistake and they like ran into us. I think that's why we won the game. But I respect them. Like they played really good this game.
Yeah, they certainly did. Now we'll say goodbye. Congratulations and enjoy this big W.
Thank you.
Thank you, LeeSA. Always good to chat with him, and great to hear that, you know, if you want to be a goat on the sticks, on the Wukong, who does spin a stick around, throw yourself a mullet, and you know anything else to worry about.
Yeah.
You guys enjoyed that one, you know, a couple of cheeky, maybe an F-bomb dropped in there. We weren't expecting it. Everyone caught off guard.
Teemo brings it out of the best of us.
Yeah,
He really
he's
does.
human, mate.
He does. Now, look, we got a Dare MVP to hand out, and let's have a look at who it is for Game 3 of the night. It was the big man coming back to the local shores. It's Violet. He's here. He's having a damn good time, and he had, what, like 360 bloody CS, maybe closer to 400 by the time the game was done. 3-0-5. He existed. He just scaled. He hit his item spikes. He had 72% KP right at the end, and he just did so much work. A third of the work in terms of damage, Skimmy.
I mean, ultimately, he almost played like he was the engage, right? You heard how LeeSA was saying it was hard for him to try and force that fight. Well, ultimately, Violet's just stepping up forward and saying, I'll engage. I've got myself a Summoner Cleanse. You got the Mikhail's Blessing from Gunkrab as well. What has forced him into a bad team fight, which ultimately is what really lost them the game, right? They couldn't get the Dragon. They lost the Baron. They lost the game as a big part of that. And I guess when you are building this more tanky variation of a Kog Maw, you can afford to try and do that. Whereas in past patches, you might have just got 2-shot there.
Yeah, so really, Violet, he's here. He's looking to set a statement, and he's looking to take peace all the way to Worlds again. So, look, after seeing what he did there, very solid start. Now, he needs to follow that up for a few more days, a few more weeks, maybe the whole split, arguably. That's what you want to do,
Be
right?
good, yeah.
Sure.
I hope so.
Just laying it down. Now, look, you guys go up and lay down as well. There's time for a break. You're going to need it because we have a banger to round out day number 1 here. For LCO Split 2, delivered by Menulog, it's Chiefs and Mammoth coming up after this.
Hellfire's are low. Violet goes in. Oh, that's a beautiful sidestep on the charm. Siuman's in trouble. He's gone. He's going to die after this one. He's going to get rooted and silenced and shut down. That's 2 kills from the mid and jungle of Peace. And they have found their avenue to attack. They want to try and find more, but die straight into a shroom, though. Into the shroom.
Bulldawg.
Oh, Bulldawg's been caught. He can't hit those Hex Gates. And he will...
Hey, look, menu pog.
Wait, what even is that?
Battleground?
Like, what is that?
What is that red thing?
What is
It's a
that?
flare?
It's something, isn't it? Yeah.
This is like a slug.
What are they?
Is this Desert Trooper
Commando
Oh, is that
Jarvan?
Jarvan?
It is Jarvan. There you go. They're flags. That's what they were.
No, but what is that in the back?
Commando
What is that
slug?
Jarvan.
And a drag. The
Yeah, what
big
is that on the
man.
ground?
What is that slug, man?